Get in where you fit in. Chad C. Monk Ellison here. Getting down to draft week. Tomorrow's officially draft week. This is going to be the 2025 NFL Draft Mock 1.0. I know it's taking a little while to get back going, but we want to have some things in order. My schedule's been super busy. The plan is we're going to do a 2-round no trade NFL mock draft today, and then we're going to come back Wednesday night after a lot of the rumors, a lot of the meetings all wrap up. The guys that are in Green Bay arrive. Everybody knows everything's flat. Some of the rumors will cut down. We'll know a lot more about what some teams at the top are really thinking. And we'll come back. We'll do a mock draft 2.0. We may include trades in the Wednesday final mock draft. As most of you know, we're on the Facebook page, Get In Where You Fit In. We're also live on Instagram right now, and we're on my YouTube channel. All the socials, you can follow them. Twitter at CMonk989. We're not live on Twitter right now. I may go back in tonight and do another podcast live on X/Twitter. And I might go back and do one on TikTok tonight. Do a little TikTok run, see how that goes. Haven't done anything live on TikTok yet, so that'll be really interesting. TikTok, the real C Monk. Go ahead and go follow me there. Threads, CMonk989. The Instagram, most of you that are following the Facebook page probably have me on Instagram too. That is CMonk989. The Facebook page, obviously, I'm Chad Ellison. The Facebook group is Get In Where You Fit In. If you don't follow, go hit the follow button. It's constant. I mean, every day we're posting scores, Tiger news, Michigan football. They had the spring game today. Bryce Underwood wins 17-0. Spring games aren't supposed to be pretty. They got a lot of work to do. The whole team's not even in camp yet. The whole team's not healthy, but we'll take it. Nice 88-yard touchdown on the flea flicker kind of end the day for Bryce Underwood. He had 188 yards on 12 of 25 passing. So he's a true freshman. He's expected to not hit every throw at his first spring game. We're looking forward to getting Mikey Keene healthy and in camp. And Jaden Davis, Jaden Davis is an athlete, but I don't believe Jaden Davis is really in the race. I think it's a Bryce Underwood, Mikey Keene situation. But it was good to see Michigan suit up, kind of run around a little bit today. The YouTube channel at Chad Ellison 9449. I know I don't have a whole lot of followers on YouTube. We're really going to start squaring up on YouTube here and really get the channel really going. I'm going to start sharing it. I'm going to start doing everything I do on the Facebook page on the YouTube channel, and we're just going to see how that keeps going. If you're commenting right now, like I said, I have 3 different cameras going. Doing my best here, but I'm probably not going to see a lot of the comments until we're completely done. And then I'm also on Twitch, which I haven't really used yet either. We'll once we get going all summer long on baseball coverage, when football camp, when camp starts for the NFL, camp starts for the Big Ten, we'll start really getting into the Twitch channel. More equipment. And then we're going to be able to do a whole lot more. So, it's kind of a learning curve with me, learning curve with the fans. Like I said, constantly be on the Get In Where You Fit In page on Facebook. That's mainly where I'm at. I'm posting every day. All Detroit sports, Michigan football. If you want to talk Michigan State football or Big Ten football or anything you like, hey, I'm here for it. This is what I do. I talk sports, especially football. Big win for the Tigers today, 3-1. They've taken the first 3 from Kansas City. It's very important to, keep beating your division rivals. Game 1 tonight at Madison Square Garden, Pistons Knicks. I know a lot of the writers have written the Pistons off. You've heard it here first. Pistons in 5, and that's going to be a very, I think, convincing Game 1 win tonight. Moving on, this is going to be a mock draft. Like I said, we're gonna talk a little bit. We're not gonna fall in love with every pick. I'm not Mel Kiper yet, but we're gonna go down. We're gonna do 2 rounds. I feel like anything more than 2 rounds, and you start really, losing your audience, especially on a podcast like this. You're not on TV where people are gonna sit and watch it for 4 hours. When you get on, when you're on your phone and you're watching a podcast, after hour and a half, you kind of start losing attention and your patience. So we're going to try to keep this at about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. The one on Wednesday might be a little longer because then we'll really start breaking some of these first round, prospects up. And excited for Thursday. I'd like to have something special. I think Thursday night after the draft concludes, I know it's going to be late, probably about 11 o'clock. I may get on at 11 o'clock, kind of go over the first round, especially the Lions pick, discuss what we like, what we don't like, what surprises were had. Friday is the second and third rounds. I will be in Ann Arbor softball qualifier this weekend with the boys, but I think Friday night after the draft concludes, same thing, 11 o'clock from my hotel. I think I will get on. I will discuss what happened in second and third rounds. We'll touch base on what the Lions are doing. We'll touch base on, the complete 2 rounds. And then Saturday, I'm really busy with the tournament Saturday, but either late Saturday night or Sunday morning, I will come on and we will discuss the draft as a whole. We'll discuss rounds, 4, 5, 6, 7. And, we'll keep engaging. And then we'll look forward to seeing what some of these teams do with undrafted free agents. I think some free agency stuff, it will drop here next week as soon as the draft concludes. The Aaron Rodgers thing, I think, is getting ready to happen. So we're going to start this one off. And bear with me here. Pick number 1, first round. The Tennessee Titans are on the clock. I think this is not a very hard reach to do. It's a unanimous first-round pick. It's going to be Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami of Florida. I mean, we're talking he has all the tools. He has a very, very good arm. He's mobile. He can move around the pocket. He can get out of, danger. He can make every throw. Tennessee has the first pick because Tennessee, first and foremost, they don't have a quarterback. The Will Levis experiment didn't work. They're still working on weapons. They're young. They're going to keep building. But Cam Ward is definitely the first prospect in this draft. As you see with some of these other quarterbacks, as we'll keep going, yeah, it's not even really close. And the next quarterback is probably in the 20s for rankings. And I think he needs to not say it's because of his last name, but he just doesn't have some of the tools. He doesn't have the strong arm. He doesn't have the mobility that Cam Ward has, or some of the prospects last year had, or some of the prospects next year will have. So pick number 1 of the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward. Going on to pick number 2, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. It's safe to say the Deshaun Watson experiment has failed. He tore his Achilles, so Deshaun Watson will not even play at all this year. He's getting paid to just pretty much rehab, see if he can kind of get his head on straight. Cleveland needs a lot. I mean, they re-signed Myles Garrett. They need a lot on offense, especially. I kind of battled with this one. I kind of went back and forth with Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter. The thought of having Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett on both ends coming at you is enticing. It came down to they need more than just another edge rusher. They need some things on offense. They're going to need to score. I mean, that defense is going to be a top 3 defense in football, whether they had Abdul Carter or not. I made a decision. I think Travis Hunter is a unicorn in this draft. He's the best athlete by 100 miles. Cleveland is going to go with Travis Hunter, cornerback, wide receiver from Colorado. I believe he tries to play both. I think he is a NFL starting wide receiver, and I think they're going to just see if they can spray him in on defense. The Browns have some spots to play defense with the hands he has, and the IQ he has. He'll be able to make plays on defense, but he's not going to be able to line up and play 4 quarters, 17 weeks a season, both ways. It's just not going to happen. I believe he is an NFL wide receiver. He will make Cleveland very, very good, very, very fast. They'll be able to light the scoreboard up. They still have Jerry Jeudy, so they still have weapons. They got to figure the running back position out. They're going to figure out if they're going to bring Nick Chubb back after the draft or if they're going to let him just keep exploring his options. I believe Nick Chubb lands somewhere because I've seen some workout videos and Nick Chubb is squatting skyscrapers at this point. So Travis Hunter from Colorado is your second pick to the Cleveland Browns. Going on to the number 3 pick, the New York Giants on the clock. No brainer. I believe the draft always started from 4 on. The number 3 overall pick, Abdul Carter, edge rusher, Penn State. Like I said, I battled the thought of having Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter on both sides in Cleveland was really enticing. This gets enticing. We're talking Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and now Abdul Carter. Who knows if Thibodeau, gets moved in this draft or as the offseason moves on, or if they kind of stick with 3 of them. But Brian Burns, Abdul Carter coming at you. Abdul Carter, that is, I think, Micah Parsons 2.0. That kid is just an absolute animal and a problem. And, in that division, you got to get after quarterbacks and kind of move around a little bit. You got Jalen Hurts, you got Dak Prescott, you got Jalen Daniels. So I believe that's a really no-brainer pick. I always thought that this NFL draft is starting at pick 4. Pick 4, New England Patriots are on the clock. If there was trades, this might be a spot where somebody's, thinking about moving up to grab somebody, especially with all the tackles looming, with those couple quarterbacks that you could want to get up there. Also, this could be a spot where like a Chicago or a New Orleans, Las Vegas want to jump up, grab maybe the running back, Ashton Jeanty, but no trades in this one, so we're going to stick with it. New England is going to pick Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. I know they're saying a lot about Will Campbell's arm length. I think he'll pencil in at tackle. They're going to try to probably pencil him in at, I would think, right tackle as a rookie. Maybe they move him inside and he plays interior, but I think New England really needs someone at the right tackle position right now. And then eventually, as he grows into it, it's kind of like a Penei Sewell situation where you have a left tackle, put him on the right side. Maybe at some point when he gets to be a veteran, he moves over to the left side. Maybe he stays inside. But Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU to the Patriots. Number 5 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm talking about a team that needs a lot. Liam Cohen is the new head coach in Jacksonville. They got Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. They still got weapons, but they have pieces on defense. They don't have a defense. Here's where they address it. They're going to go with Mason Graham, defensive tackle, University of Michigan. Moving on to pick number 6, the Las Vegas Raiders. This was one of the spots where, there could be a trade here. Especially if I keep saying it, the Chicago Bears and every rumor are very interested in Jeanty. I think Ben Johnson sees Ashton Jeanty as Jahmyr Gibbs 2.0. He wants that in his offense. Don't blame him. But without trades, Las Vegas stays here into the 6th spot. Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State. We're talking, this dude is a tank. He's bigger than Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's bigger than Saquon Barkley, a power back that has the hands. He's going to be your franchise running back for the next 10 plus years. I really think the mantra of after one contract, your running backs are done. I think it's starting to change. You're getting some really talented running backs coming through. People are really going to start really taking care of them, I believe. Moving on to the New York Jets, number 7 overall pick. Armand Membu, offensive tackle, Missouri. They need a right tackle to kind of anchor down. They got the running game. They got weapons. They got Justin Fields, who, is that dual threat. I think that offense is actually going to get really, really fun to watch. And now they got the right tackle, so Justin Fields has a complete offensive line in front of him. That offense could get really, really dangerous with a complete offensive line. Armand Membu, an absolute bulldozer. He just destroys everything in his way. So I think he's the best tackle in this draft, but he's a right tackle. He's never really going to motion over to the left side. I think he believes he only stays on the right. The prospects, anybody evaluating these prospects believe it. Armand Membu will stay on the right side for the Jets. Moving on, number 8, the Carolina Panthers. Jalen Walker, edge rusher, Georgia. They're another team. They need a lot. I know receiver was another thing that Carolina was really looking at here, but I don't believe the receivers in this draft, outside of Travis Hunter, you could probably get one for what you're looking for later on. So Carolina addresses, no more Brian Burns in Carolina. They got to have that premier edge rusher. They get him in Jalen Walker. Number 9, New Orleans Saints. This is where a lot of people believe Shedeur Sanders could fall right in. I don't really believe that Shedeur Sanders is a number 9 overall pick. With the lack of the arm strength, the lack of the pocket presence, I just think he's going to fall a little bit here. New Orleans has some needs, especially in their secondary. Will Johnson, cornerback, Michigan. I believe all his medicals have cleared out. He did work out, I know, last week, and I guess he looked really good. I mean, 6'2", 205-pound corners don't grow on trees. Number 9 overall pick, Will Johnson. Number 10, the Chicago Bears on the clock. They have some needs here. Offensive line could be one. They just spent over $100 million on their offensive line in the offseason. I think they're going to Ben Johnson's going to concentrate on that offense, and he's going to take the tight end unicorn, Tyler Warren, tight end, Penn State. Another really toy for Ben Johnson to really look at. You get Cole Kmet, Tyler Warren on the field at the same time with a Dunze. Yeah, that offense is going to be scary. This is why teams like Detroit and Green Bay are so focused on building their defense up in this offseason, because Chicago has put all the attention on their offense. Number 11 overall pick. I know it's a weird spot to see this team this high up in the draft. The San Francisco 49ers. The defense has been decimated. Pretty much half the defense has left. So they are completely rebuilding the defense. So I think this is a team that really primarily focuses on their defense throughout this draft. I think they go and they get that defensive tackle to kind of, weigh. They got the edge rushers. They just need somebody to anchor down. Derek Harmon. I know he's a former Michigan State Spartan. We didn't see a lot of what we've seen at Oregon and at Michigan State. When he got to Oregon, I think he got the coaching he needed. This guy can he can rush the passer from inside. He's a great run stopper. Derek Harmon. And I know there's going to be some teams like Pittsburgh are really upset Derek Harmon went here, because there's some teams in the teens and lower 20s that are really looking at Derek Harmon. Number 12, the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas. I know they want a number 2 receiver to help Dak. Then people can't just focus on CeeDee Lamb. And then their offense could get really fun. I mean, they went and they've addressed the running back position. Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams at the running back position now. They're kind of rebuilding their offensive line. They're going to get a healthy Dak Prescott, which is going to be good. That's a top 10 quarterback in this league. I know they talked some trades and stuff. They went and acquired rocket arm Joe Milton, former Tennessee Volunteer and Michigan Wolverine quarterback, can throw the ball 7 miles. But Dak's going to be back. They need weapons. Matthew Golden. I mean, we're talking fast. He can really take the top off your defense. You put him and CD in the same offense, that's dangerous. Number 13 overall, the Miami Dolphins on the clock. There's only one clear spot the Miami Dolphins should be looking to go. I know there's a lot of rumors about, some of the receivers not being happy there. I mean, it's rough when you can't protect your quarterback, so he's constantly getting head injuries. Tua's a serviceable quarterback. You put offensive linemen in front of him, and he's going to do a job. Miami is going to primarily focus on getting him protected. They're going to go, I believe, in the trenches often in this draft. They start here with Calvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle from Texas. Indianapolis Colts are at number 14 overall. I think they look for a weapon for whether it's Richardson or Daniel Jones at the quarterback position. Colson Loveland, tight end, Michigan. Number 15 overall, the Atlanta Falcons. Need pass rush help. They get it here. Mike Green, the edge rusher from Marshall. Number 16 overall, the Arizona Cardinals. It seems like Kyler Murray has been running for his life. They never really addressed that issue. They have a little bit in this offseason, but here they go wide receiver, pretty much best guy on the board. Tet McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona. We're talking a big 6'4" frame, can fly, very, very defined route running. Tet McMillan to the Arizona Cardinals. Number 17 overall, Cincinnati Bengals. I know I really battled with taking an edge rusher here, not knowing what the Trey Hendrickson situation is like in Cincinnati. At some point, you probably lose Trey Hendrickson, whether one of these edge rusher needy teams go trade for him or he just walks away when they can't afford to pay him because they just gave their, Higgins and Jamar Chase the absolute bank. You're not going to be able to pay Trey Hendrickson what he's worth. But I think they got some needs in their secondary. They got to get, the secondary healthy. I go with big box safety here, Nick Amenwari, safety from South Carolina. I mean, this guy can come play up in the box. He can cover slot receivers, or he can stay back and he can play center field. This is the best safety in the class to the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 18 overall, the Seattle Seahawks also need offensive line and secondary help. We start in the secondary, Jedi Barron, outside corner, Texas. Number 19 overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They absolutely are sprinting to the podium right here. Probably getting the commissioner a little upset, but Jihad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama, has fell right into their laps. Their biggest need. Campbell is going to be a top 5 middle linebacker pretty much right away in this league. I mean, this kid is special. He falls right into Tampa's laps. Number 20 overall, the Denver Broncos on the clock. Running back needy. There is Omarion Hampton. He's being compared to the likes of Emmitt Smith for the power running, he can do, the vision he has, the hands he has out of the backfield. Omarion Hampton to the Denver Broncos. Running back from North Carolina. Number 21 overall, the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. And here it goes. They don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. He's kind of holding them hostage as he likes to just play his games. Pittsburgh kind of gets backed into a corner here. They got to go quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. If anybody can really get Shedeur Sanders to hone in, be a good professional, do the things in their offense, especially with their receivers. I mean, you got George Pickens, DK Metcalf now. They got some weapons. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. We don't know. Maybe he doesn't even need to start his rookie year if Aaron Rodgers ends up deciding he's coming to Pittsburgh. Then he can just sit back. He can learn. He can kind of, get more comfortable in the pocket. And Pittsburgh can really address their offensive line. Moving on, number 22, the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock. Harbaugh likes big edge rushers. He likes to kind of get after the quarterback. Shamir Stewart, edge, Texas A&M. Number 23, the Green Bay Packers on the clock. Go with offensive tackle Josh Cornerly Jr., Oregon. Like I said, they got to address this. When you're playing Detroit and you got Hutch and some of the other guys, they like to edge rush. We're going to get to Detroit here in a few minutes. And I think they kind of upgrade that position. Minnesota, Green Bay are going to have to address that offensive line and really keep guys off Jordan Love's back. You got talent at wide receiver. I know they want some more depth there, but you got a running game with Jacobs. And here you go with your left tackle of the future, Josh Cornerly Jr. Number 24 overall, the Minnesota Vikings on the clock. And they're kind of going to go with the offensive line unicorn, a guy that can play center, guard, tackle, Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. I mean, this guy is 6'6", 315. He can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. And he's just a good kid. I mean, when you watch his interviews and his film, I mean, he's helping guys up after he trucks them into the ground. I mean, very, very high guy on my board. Moving on to number 25 overall, the Houston Texans on the clock. Another team that could look at offensive line, but a couple of the offensive linemen thereafter have just went. Josh Simmons, the tackle from Ohio State, had the massive knee injury. He's kind of still rehabbing it. So I think maybe he falls a little bit here. It kind of makes Houston look. Tank Dell's going to be out for the year with that gruesome injury. And C.J. Stroud gets a guy that's really familiar to him, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Ohio State, to the Houston Texans. Kind of give C.J. Stroud, a weapon he's been familiar with for, his whole time at Ohio State. And, Egbuka can play inside in the slot, can go outside. He's a really good route runner, really good teammate. Egbuka to the Houston Texans. 26 overall, the Los Angeles Rams. They're going to address the interior of their defense here. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. We're talking, 6'4", 340 pounds. I mean, he's just a space eater. You might not be able to keep him on the field, for 70 plays a game. He might have to come off and clear passing downs, but the guy just eats space up. He stops the run, and just a complete animal. Just plays the game violently. 27 overall, the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Looking at edge rusher. I really thought when this guy fell, I really didn't think he'd be to this point in the draft, but as the edge rushers kind of fall in, I think he falls here. Michael Williams, edge rusher, Georgia. He just has the Baltimore mantra writ all over him. 28 overall, our Detroit Lions on the clock. And we're going to go with an edge rusher here. A guy I think has some of the best length. I mean, long arms, good hips, really, really good footwork. I think you put him on the other side of Hutch and you really have something here. Donovan Nzechukwu, edge rusher, Boston College, the Detroit Lions. Now you got Nzechukwu, you got Hutch, and then you have the depth behind them. You got guys like maybe Davenport can stay healthy for a whole season if he's only coming in for 10 to 12 plays a game, and then, he ends up with 7, 8, 9 sacks. So Detroit addresses that edge rusher position, and they just became a very, very real Super Bowl contender with a move like this. 29 overall, the Washington Commanders on the clock. They also stay at the edge rusher position. James Pierce Jr., edge rusher, Tennessee. 30 overall, the Buffalo Bills on the clock. They go to the cornerback position. Maxwell Hairston, cornerback, Kentucky. Winding down the first round here. 31 overall is the Kansas City Chiefs. Looking for, you just lost Joe Thuney in the trade. You better find some linemen, especially you got some unathletic tackles there right now. You better get some interior help to kind of get that running game flowing. So Mahomes ain't picking himself up 100 times a year. Going with mammoth offensive guard Tyler Booker from Alabama. I mean, this guy is a straight bulldozer. I know I watched a lot of Mel Kiper first draft every week, and he's like, dude, this guy is absolutely, you put him in a phone booth. I mean, he's not going to come out. He's not going to help the pass rush, coming to the side if the tackle gets beat. But in the run game, this guy will bulldoze you through. I think it kind of fits in their offense, and this is a very, very deep draft for offensive tackle, so I think they can go address that in the second, third, fourth round. And to round out the first round, the Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions, are going to address I seen a rumor today, A.J. Brown is not happy. I think we know what song and dance this is. At some point here, they may look to move him, and maybe it's in this draft. Luther Burden III, wide receiver, Missouri. I mean, we're talking, he's got the speed, he's got the hands, he can play inside, outside. I think he primarily will play in the slot in the NFL, but he is a matchup nightmare. That ends out the first round here. We're going to move on. We're going to do 2 rounds today. As I said, no trades. I haven't seen if there's any comments on any of the apps here. We'll check that after. We can continue to talk football when we're off the air. We just wanted to make sure we came on. We did our mock draft 1.0, and then kind of let it marinate and cook for a couple days. We'll see what happens here Monday, Tuesday. There's still a lot of meetings and workouts to be had before we settle in. Wednesday, the guys that are going to Green Bay to the draft arrive, and I think a lot of the teams pretty much will know what their plan is. And then we can come on. I think Wednesday night we'll come on. I'd like to do, I don't know, maybe we'll come and do either 2, 3, 4 round with trades potentially. We'll see what some of, you followers want to do. So I'm going to get a drink here, and we're going to start the second round. Round 2. 33 overall, the Cleveland Browns on the clock. As we talked about, they went and got Travis Hunter in the first round. I think they maybe in a trade situation, Cleveland tries to come back up with this pick to go get Shedeur Sanders to team up with his best friend. But in a no-trade scenario, they're here at 33, and they do address the quarterback position, as they desperately need right now. They did just sign Joe Flacco last week, but I don't believe Joe Flacco is really going to be your starting plan, coming into the season. And this kid is a straight gunslinger. He can move around a little bit. He has some pocket awareness, but he can fling the football around it. You got Travis Hunter. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got Njoku. You really got to have a guy that can get the ball out of his hands. Jackson Dart, quarterback, Ole Miss, probably my personal number 2 overall quarterback in this draft. But I like Shedeur Sanders. I just think that Jackson Dart has the A+ arm that Shedeur don't have, and he has some of the pocket awareness that, Shedeur definitely hasn't had at Colorado. 34 overall, the New York Giants on the clock addressed the corner position. Azariah Thomas, cornerback, Florida State. We talked about Will Johnson from Michigan, size, 6'2", corners just don't grow on trees. In this draft, there's some big corners. This is one of them. This kid is 6'2.5", 210 pounds, can play up on the line, can play physical, very good in coverage. Azariah Thomas, corner, Florida State. 35 overall, the Tennessee Titans back on the clock, addressed the quarterback position, number 1 overall with Cam Ward. They get an edge rusher here, Nick Scorton, edge rusher, Texas A&M. And I know a lot of people are going to say, look at his numbers. He didn't have a lot of sack production. For whatever reason, Shamir Stewart, Nick Scorton didn't get sacks at Texas A&M. You watch the film, these guys are absolute demons. They weren't finishing plays. And the defense they're playing in at Texas A&M, I believe at the NFL level, they both will have sack numbers. They both will have pressures. But Nick Scorton, edge rusher, Texas A&M to the Titans. 36 overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock. They addressed their secondary here. Makari Starks, safety, Georgia. Kind of in the same breath as Emanwari. This is safety, probably 2A, definitely 2 in the draft. I really like the Watts kid. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, but Xavier Watts is more like a Kirby Joseph where he sets back, he plays center field. He'll get a lot of interceptions that way. Makari Starks, Nick Emanwari are different. They'll come up, they'll play in the box. They tackle really well. They're just athletes. Makari Starks, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 37 overall, the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. They also stay in the secondary. Trey Amos, corner, Ole Miss. We're talking, he's 6'1", considered a big corner in the NFL. But he's another one. He likes to put his hands on you, kind of like what we just talked about, Azariah Thomas. Will Johnson's famous for it. I mean, in the NFL, early on, guys like Will Johnson are going to get called for some penalties, but they're also going to make some really big plays. They're going to break up some big passes, and it's the same thing here. You're playing Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, in your division. You got to have corners that are willing to match up on those number one wide receivers. Trey Amos, corner, Ole Miss to the Raiders. 38 overall, the New England Patriots back on the clock, and they get Drake May some help outside. Trey Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss. I mean, Trey Harris, a big red zone target, really good route runner. He's just an outstanding wide receiver. I know the draft is really, really deep at the position, but New England wants to address it right now. 39 overall, the hold on. It's not the Indianapolis Colts. It's the Chicago Bears. They got this pick last year from the Carolina Panthers in the trade. Olufemi Oladeju, edge rusher, UCLA. They got Montez Sweat on one side, put Oladeju on the other, and, the NFC North teams are, especially Chicago is going to kind of build like Detroit did. They want to have two speedy edge rushers on the outside, and they want to be able to put points up and run the football. Number 40 overall is the New Orleans Saints. They go with big defensive tackle Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. I mean, this kid has been a top prospect his entire life. He was a number 1 overall recruit in his class. He went to Texas A&M at the time, ended up transferring to Ole Miss. I mean, this guy can stay on the field in passing situations, great at stuffing the run. Could have been a first-round pick for whatever reason because of the way the offensive lineman kind of came off the board. Walter Nolan falls a little bit. Walter Nolan to the Saints. Back on the clock at number 41 overall, and this team is having a great draft. And, a lot of people, sometimes I'll be like, hate Chicago, hate Green Bay. I'm a big Lions fan. Chicago is killing it in this draft. Chicago at 41 overall, Xavier Watts, the safety, Notre Dame. And, they got Jaquan Brisker, who kind of likes to come down into the box, likes to be physical. Xavier Watts, like I was saying, he isn't like Nick Emanwari, where he's going to want to come down in the box. He's kind of likes to play center field, free safety. Likes to just step back. He's going to get you the interceptions. He's going to call your defense out for you. But Xavier Watts, day one, starts, at the free safety position in Chicago. 42 overall, the New York Jets on the clock go with Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State. Justin Fields needs weapons. And, with Devontae Adams getting traded over to the Rams, this was a direct need. They get it. Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State to the Jets. 43 overall, the San Francisco 49ers back on the clock. As I said, I believe they primarily stay on the defensive side of of the ball in these early rounds. Jordan Birch, edge rusher, Oregon. We're talking he's 6'7", 260 pounds. Unbelievable length. Really, really good hands. His footwork, it's going to take some refining, but big kid. I think he fits really, really well in the defense they run. And I mean, think about it. He's 6'7". You put him on the other side of Bosa. They got something cooking again here with their draft picks. You know, Harmon, Birch. San Francisco could reload here pretty quick. 44 overall here in the second round is the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to address the secondary. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback, Notre Dame. Jordan Lewis is now gone. He is now in Houston. Benjamin Morrison will kind of tally in on the outside opposite Bland, and, you know, he'll be asked to cover number 2 wide receivers. 45 overall here in the second round. The Indianapolis Colts back on the clock. Got to address that offensive tackle position, especially for the future. Ozzie Trapeel, offensive tackle, Boston College. We were just talking about, you know, Birch's size, his length. This is another guy. He is absolutely a monster. He's 6'7", 320 pounds, great feet work. Going to play primarily on the left side, probably his whole career. 46 overall, the Atlanta Falcons address the secondary. Darren Porter, corner, Iowa State. 47 overall, the Arizona Cardinals back on the clock. As we talked about, Kyler Murray's been running for his life, his entire career. They went and addressed some weapons. Now they're going to go and they're going to get some protection for Kyler Murray with Jonah Savanahu, offensive guard, Arizona. Another big kid, but he's going to going to provide some interior protection at the offensive guard position. Can also play center, but I think Arizona really needs him to pencil in at the guard position. 48 overall, the Miami Dolphins. And I really think Miami is just going to stay in the trenches, strengthen the trenches up. They're going to go with TJ Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina here. Another big kid, 6'4", 290 pounds. I believe he puts a little bit of size on at the NFL level. You know, they kind of define his, you know, handwork a lot, and he's going to be asked to pencil in here pretty quick. 49 overall, Cincinnati Bengals back on the clock. Edge rusher, Landon Jackson, edge, Arkansas. We talked about Trey Hendrickson earlier. We don't know what that story is going to be. I believe at some point they either have to trade him or let him walk. They're not going to be able to afford him. They might as well start looking to the future. Landon Jackson, edge rusher, Arkansas. The 50th pick in the second round, the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. They just went and acquired Cooper Kupp, the former Los Angeles Ram. They're going to do it again. Jack Beck, wide receiver, TCU, another weapon for Sam Darnold, the new quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. They got to keep up with the rest of that division. 51 overall, the Denver Broncos. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU. Really a position where they need to build some depth, especially for the future. Mason Taylor provides that. 6'4", 245 pounds, good hands, is willing to step in and block. Mason Taylor, tight end, LSU to the Broncos. 52 overall, Seattle Seahawks back on the clock. This was a pick they acquired in the DK Metcalf deal from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They addressed the interior of that offensive line. Donovan Jackson, offensive guard from Ohio State. 53 overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A guy that has ran into some injury issues. I think this is why he fell out of the first round into the middle of the second round. Shaven Revel Jr., cornerback, East Carolina. You know, he's 6 foot tall, fast, athletic. I guess the doctors are saying that his physicals are coming back really, really good. But I think with that, those knee concerns, 2 years with knee injuries, he falls a little bit here in the draft. Shaven Rebel Jr., the corner from East Carolina to Tampa. 54 overall, the Green Bay Packers back on the clock. And for whatever reason, Green Bay never addresses the wide receiver position, in the first round. They wait till the second round here. They go and get their guy. Jalen Knoll, wide receiver, Iowa State. He's another really big guy, 6'3.5", good hands. I believe it's a guy that can just pencil in right outside. Packers get another weapon. Got to keep up in the NFC North, probably one of the best divisions in all of football. 55 overall, Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers back on the clock. He stays in the trenches. It's kind of what they need to do at this point. They lost Joey Bosa. They need to get some more girth inside. Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle, Tennessee. I watched this guy's pro day. I watched this guy at the combine. Absolute monster. I really think that Harbaugh just wants to, in the trenches, push people around up front. This is how you do it. You get a guy that's 6'3", 290 something pounds. I mean, he is a monster. 56 overall, the Buffalo Bills, a pick they got from the Minnesota Vikings, select defensive tackle Tyleik Williams, big defensive tackle from the Ohio State. He's another one. He's big. He eats space, kind of like we said about, Grant, Mason Graham. They really, really can just eat blocks and get to the next level. 57 overall, the Carolina Panthers, a pick they got from the Los Angeles Rams. Jalen Royals, wide receiver, Utah State. They need weapons. Bryce Young kind of needs to take that next step. This is how you do it. You keep getting them weapons. You get them protected, and that Carolina team could be getting better here real quick. 58 overall, the Houston Texans on the clock. Here's one of the guys that should have been one of the first tackles off the board. He just had another giant knee injury. Only played 4 games last year on the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State. We're talking this guy is 6'5". He is a prototypical left tackle. He puts his hands on you and he just drives. Very good left tackle. Like I said, if it wasn't for the knee injury last year, he's probably first or second tackle off the board. I mean, Membo probably is still the top tackle on the board, but Membo plays the right side. This would have been your top left tackle, I think, over Campbell if he was healthy. 59 overall, the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Go to the secondary. Kevin Winston Jr., safety, Penn State. 60th overall, our Detroit Lions back on the clock. With Lee McNeil going to miss a large portion of this year with the knee injury. Bigger guys just don't come back as quick from those, Achilles injuries. I think Detroit really decides to attack the interior of that defensive line. They went outside, in the first round. I think they're going to come back inside on the defense. In the second round, Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo. One of my favorite guys I've watched film on in this complete draft cycle. I mean, this guy at the combine was just firing off the ball. He made Gray Zabel spin twice in 2 reps. I mean, and you do that to Gray Zabel, who is going to be, a top 15 pick. He really got Booker, Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama, really got him in a spin cycle too. So, really good film. As soon as I seen him, I was like, whoa, this should be one of the top guys. But Darius Alexander played at a smaller school in Toledo in the MAC. This is why I think he falls this far. But Darius Alexander right away, I mean, makes that Detroit defense very, very physical and scary. I mean, this guy's going to fire off the ball every single time. He's going to attack centers and guards. Very good selection for the Detroit Lions. I was very happy that he just happened to be here at this point. 61 overall, the Washington Commanders. attack the wide receiver position. Isaiah Bond, wide receiver, Texas. A guy that was a former Alabama receiver, transferred to Texas. Very fast, has good hands, really has to define his route running some more. I mean, he's kind of a high flyer, but he's going to have to really hone into those things at the NFL level, especially with mobile quarterback and Jalen Daniels. But a really good selection late in the second round. 62 overall, the Buffalo Bills. Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle, Florida State. Ed Oliver ain't getting any younger, and they decide to go get a guy that is going to pencil in, going to play 15 snaps a game early in the year as he takes those steps. And, you know, you can give Ed Oliver breathers. We're running the second round down here, last two picks. 63 overall, the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Reed, safety, Penn State. Kid that's from Detroit, chose Penn State. He's one of those free safeties that love to play center field. You know, Eric Reed is no longer in Kansas City. I think he could really fill in and play that free safety position for the Kansas City Chiefs. And to end the second round, 64 overall, the Philadelphia Eagles, Arante Ursary, offensive tackle, Minnesota. You know, Lane Johnson not getting any younger. This is kind of where this point in the second, third round, this is what you do. You know your roster. You need to start creating depth, and this is what they do. A guy that could pencil in at the right tackle position if needed right away, or he's going to, you know, stay behind Lane Johnson at the left tackle position and be ready for the future. And that's going to wrap up the mock draft in this version of the 1.0 NFL mock draft. Interested to see some of the comments. I'm really going to keep honing into watching these mock drafts as the next couple of days go. Keep reading the news. I know as we've been on the air here, a rumor came out about Baltimore looking to move Mark Andrews, their all-pro tight end. So that could really change some things. We're going to, like I said, we're going to let the next 2, 3, 4 days kind of marinate with the prospects. We're going to come back Wednesday night. We're going to do my final mock draft. It'll be the 2.0. Potential trades involved. We'll kind of see what people want to do, how long people want to set, especially on a Wednesday night. We will announce either Sunday or Monday what time it'll be on Wednesday. I'm thinking 8, 9 o'clock. Get everybody together here, do one. You know, if we include trades, it's going to take a little longer. It's a lot of work. So we'll see exactly what we want to do, but we will be back Wednesday night. We can also talk. The Pistons are going to be 2 games through in the series with the Knicks. They start here within the hour. It's 5 o'clock. They start. It's a 6 p.m. tip-off. We'll see how the Tigers fare for the next few days. Tough. They stay on this tough schedule. They've taken the first 3 from Kansas City. Scuba will try to sweep Kansas City out of town tomorrow. And then the tough San Diego Padres come into town for 3. And then it's the Baltimore Orioles, who I know haven't started good, but they have talent. They're going to get going at some point. So schedule getting no easier for the Tigers. The Tigers can race out to a 4 or 5 game lead here in the Central. Going to feel really good about ourselves, you know, going through May and June. But that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank everybody for joining. Like I said, tell your friends, you know, come join. Hit that follow button on the Get In Where You Fit In page. Follow me on the YouTube channel. That's Chad Ellison 9449. Also, we're on Instagram today, and we're going to institute some podcast on X/Twitter. That's at CMonk989. So make sure you go follow the apps. If you have anything, you know, you want to talk, you don't want to talk NFL, you want to talk college football. I would rather not talk college basketball right now. It just concluded. I think we're kind of honed in on baseball and football right now. But I'm here for it. I'm here for the sports talk. So thank you for joining today, and we'll see you guys Wednesday. Go Lions.